What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Signal Callers DFS show. Today is October 3rd. We're going to take a stab at breaking down the Week 5 main slate today. It's an interesting one. We're hitting buys for the first time this week. There's actually only 6 games in the early window. It should be an interesting one to kind of break down and see where we're leaning. I'm Kevin. As always, got Trey and Blake here with me. What's going on tonight, boys?
What's up, gents? Man, I have not even analyzed this slate fully. I've been trying to catch up my NBA best ball bags. So I've been drafting a lot of teams there, but I'm excited to unpack it with y'all live. Only 10 games, so should be hopefully we can kind of discuss the meds, figure out the meds together.
Yeah, interesting's a funny way to say or to describe this slate. I think it's, the word nice. We're like, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. That's a nice girl, whatever. Like, you're basically just like, I have nothing good to say about it, about this person. That's the slate. I just have absolutely nothing good to say about it. So yeah, nice. It's a nice slate.
I think calling it gross would be like an understatement of the season so far. But hey, man, that's what we're doing. We got to grind through it. Another week. We only get so many of these every year, so we're gonna take advantage of it. So
money to be made.
That's right.
Yes.
Let's dive in. Let's talk about some overarching themes of the week from like a bird's eye view. What you got, Blake?
Yeah, so I feel like my theme's been hitting pretty good. I think the theme for this week is just RBs all day. Last week was the first one that I talked about, maybe where we put a wide receiver in the flex, and that wasn't the way to go. It's just straight up running backs all day, every day on these slates. To at least have a good floor lineup, I'll say, right? To make sure you're cashing here. That's the way I feel. If you're going, obviously, these major GPPs, that's a different strategy. You maybe not want to go RBs because that's going to be the more chalky plays here. But yeah, it's a gross slate. It's going to be extremely chalky, I feel like, probably because it's also, what did you say was 6 games, I think?
6 games early and then 4 in the afternoon, I'm pretty sure, right?
10.
Okay.
Last week was 13 games, so.
Yeah, 6, yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned that about the running backs, because I feel like that has been a theme throughout the year, right? Like, think about who are the only wide receivers early that have hit? Puka, and maybe that's it. I mean, Amon-Ra.
QJ hasn't missed yet.
Well, I'm talking about
there's been players.
I'm talking about like first and second round elite wide receivers that have been like kind of busts, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whether it's like through no fault of their own or like their own terrible play, but yeah, it's
BTJ's been bad, Nico's been bad, Chase has been bad, right? Jefferson, I mean, he's been okay, but he's behind no quarterbacks. Yeah, it's been gross. AJ Brown's been nowhere to be found.
Yeah, so let's dive into what games we're avoiding, if any. I know that we usually pick out like which are the grossest game on the slate, but we've already mentioned it a couple of times that all of these games feel pretty gross. So are there any that you're just like completely Xing out in the solver when you're building?
I think the one closest I'd be Xing out would be the Baltimore-Houston game. Yeah. But I'm only crossing out the Baltimore side.
No Lamar
really.
Then
no Lamar this week, right? So I think there's only teams I'm crossing out. There's not any games. Like Baltimore I'm out on, Cincy I'm out on, probably Tampa I'm out on, Tennessee, right? Just the teams is just horrific offenses I'm out on.
Yeah, Tennessee, Arizona, at least at first glance, looks like one that I didn't want to be in on because it's not exciting, but I figured like those with Benson going down that these backs would be chalk, and they're not. So I say that I might have some interest in some of those plays, even though they're super gross. But that and you hit it like Baltimore, Houston feel like the grossest games.
Yeah,
like the grossest 2 out of the 10.
Yeah, it's tough with some of these guys. I mean, it's so just real quick. It's so funny. I drafted Benson in a dynasty league last year over BTJ, which I've mentioned a couple times on this pod. Didn't know that BTJ was going to do what he did last year, obviously, and through this year, it's
What a shame.
It hasn't killed me. Yeah.
How
It
did
is
you
a
arrive
shame.
at that decision? As an LSU guy, you just watched Brian Thomas.
As an aside,
Score 18
let's
touchdowns.
do our dynasty corner real quick. I had 0 running backs. I had no running backs in this league. I had traded away all my running backs. Yeah, I know. BPA, we talk about it. But then this year, it finally plays out, right? You get rewarded for drafting him and holding on to him and just like having him on your roster. He gives you a game, which he wasn't even used at the end of that game, by the way. DeMarcado was used, but whatever. And then to the IR he goes. So 16 games plus 4, so like 20 games of waiting. You get one game and then he goes straight to IR. So that's just the life of like these dynasty leagues, man. You just never know. But anyway, let's talk about games that we are targeting. I know that we kind of mentioned this off air that Dallas and the Jets are probably the top game on the slate. But even that game has a lot of question marks in it. You guys want to break that one down real quick?
Yeah. So, Braylon Allen going down 8 to 12 weeks. Brees is going to be pretty chalky here, but rest of the season should be a smash. Dallas has the worst defense in the NFL. And so they're going to have to air it out. And I think we saw a little bit of that again with Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson this last week.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up being optimal in the Monday night doubleheader showdown, or not showdown, but the 2-game slate. So it started out bad, but then he had that big like 60-yard run on with his feet, and then on the ground, and that really opened up the game. And so I feel like this week with just 10 games, right, you have to get the right stack. And obviously this is the game people are going to go to with, Dallas being such a terrible defense, and the way that Dak and Pickens connected last week should be pretty chalk. But I like some pieces here as like a foundational part of the build, and then exploring ways I can get different.
Yeah, Dallas defense is so bad. Anybody lets Russell Wilson throw 450 yards on, like Dallas and Chicago, that's just where we got to be going for players.
Russ threw for 450 yards, and then he got benched the next week.
Yeah, and then he got benched.
For
right?
a rookie.
I like it from the Jets side more than the Dallas side. I don't know why the Jets are home dogs here. I find that pretty interesting. I think that's going to play into them playing well.
I mean, they haven't won a game this year, right? But I mean, their offense has looked okay at times.
Yeah, I mean, they probably should have beat the Dolphins. They just had a bunch of turnovers. Is the problem, right? That like in the red zone too. So yeah, like it just feels gross. Like I can see myself putting 3 Jets in the lineup, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
That's just kind of where we are.
We'll touch on this in a second when we get to the positions. I am surprised that Mason Taylor isn't carrying more projected ownership, because he was targeted a ton in that game, and he's a $2,800 tight end. You want to get pieces of the best game on the slate. I feel like that's an easy one to click, but we'll get there when we touch on it.
His targets: week 1, week 2, week 3, 6, week 4, 7. So yeah, on an upward trajectory. I like that price too.
So yeah, we'll touch.
Yeah,
on it.
I'm looking at.
Oh, my bad.
I'm looking at the other games, and I feel like we should just go into the positions here, because I'm just going to start talking about indivial players and team construction and stuff like that.
Let's move past the
because all these games are so.
Yeah, let's talk about QBs. We'll start where we always start, at the top. Anybody at the top of this? Well, how about this? Well, let's just talk about any QBs that we want to talk about, regardless of price, since it does seem like they are kind of flat, since we don't have any of the big dogs on the site. Well, I will say Jaden Daniels was just declared to be playing, and then you have Hurts.
He's back.
Well, so.
Yeah, and I feel like he's pretty healthy too, right? I think he could have played last week, and they were just like, nah, we're not going to force it for whatever reason.
He's going to be wearing that knee brace, so I don't know how that's...
Yeah. I don't think that worries me too much, I don't think he's going to be as mobile, but I think he's going to be fine. The Chargers are a good defense. They're going all the way across the country. It's never great. I think just price tag wise, I'm looking for relief here because I'm trying to fit all the running backs. So like Justin Fields is the clear chalk play, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Justin Fields, Justin Herbert are probably the two my top plays, and then everybody else is just like, we'll see. I think I don't really love anybody else there.
Yeah, I mean, Fields and Herbert are the chalkiest, but they're also feel like the best plays. I think a couple guys I'm seeing that's kind of maybe going overlooked. Bryce Young against Miami at 2%.
Can you click that?
It's worth exploring. Jared Goff feels pretty low owned despite going against the Bengals.
Yeah.
And Baker Mayfield is kind of interesting. I think
Baker's hurt. He's not playing well this year.
I think that Tampa.
He's got like a bicep issue.
Could be interesting though, but you're right.
I'm surprised you didn't go back to your Jalen Hurts well.
And that was the other guy I'm looking at maybe boosting to get a bit more of. But
I could see Hurts playing decently. I think Kyler Murray is a really interesting choice this week, right? Tennessee offense can't move the ball at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Arizona's defense is good enough. They're at home, and then they have no running backs. So I think Kyler will probably run a little bit more than normal. And, like Marvin Harrison, he's been a mess, but he's been so wide open and getting hit in the hands for these wide open touches. Like, it's got to happen eventually, right? Like, he's got to convert on one. So, like, is this the game? Like, maybe this is just such a low-pressure game because the Titans suck so bad. I can actually see Kyler going off with Marv and McBride.
I'm going to bring one up, and this is a gross one. But what about Rattler?
I was dude, you beat me to it.
I mean, we've talked about this. Like, this is an interesting game environment. Jackson Dart is a rookie making his second start on the road this week, and then Rattler still has yet to put together a win. He's still 0-10 in his career dating back to last year. So I mean, still liking some of these pieces from this game. What's crazy is I flagged Planet Olave last week, and at half he was leading into the game, he was the most targeted receiver in the league. He had the most targets. At halftime, he had one target and an interception. He threw an interception. I mean, that is just insane. Yeah. This is an insane stat line. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. Dart or Rattler could be interesting. Maybe it's not a single entry play. Maybe it's more of like a 3 max, 5 max play. But yeah.
Here's my thoughts on Rattler, at least, right? I think Dart's a little different because Dart has a lot of mobility, right? So, I mean, he only threw for like 100 yards last week, and I think he still put up like a 23-point game, or he put up a 20-point game. Not great. But Rattler, like at 4,800, I would much rather play Sam Darnold, for example, at $300 more.
Yeah.
But going up to what I feel is the highest ceiling on the slate, being Justin Fields at $800 more, there's no way I can click on Rattler, right? Like I'm not gaining anything when I click on Rattler besides, low ownership. Right. But like he has no ceilings. He has no ceiling to me.
I think it's an interesting play. They're favored. They're in the dome. Rattler, he's shown a bit of like scrambling ability. I think the matchup with Dart is interesting for him because this is a first round pick and he's a second year guy that's looking to prove himself. They need a win. And this is where the Saints they finally got their O-line intact. I think it's actually an upgrade that Cesar Ruiz went down, to be honest with you. So it's an interesting pivot play. Like I hear you on the Fields, JD, Herbert, Hurts having the higher ceilings, but if you wanted to get a lower price point to start something unique, he's an interesting way to go.
He hasn't had a terrible year in the stat sheet. I mean, I know it hasn't obviously shown up in games, but in week 2, he had a 21-point game, at home against a defense that, I think most people would have thought that he would have struggled against in San Francisco. I know that they're just an insanely banged up team, but I mean, I don't know. Like I said, maybe I don't get there on a single entry, but in that 5 max competition, I might. Jackson Dart had 19.8 points last week against a Chargers team that I think most people were playing a defense to
pretty good
to take advantage of playing a rookie, right? So, I think it's interesting, but yeah, I'll probably end up on Dart. I mean, not Dart. Fields, Kyler, Goff, Herbert, somewhere's in those 4 for my single entry.
What were they? Fields, Herbert.
Fields, Herbert, Goff, and Kyler. Kyler hurts me, man, just because I've gone to the Cardinals so many times and I've come up empty, and I know the one time I completely X them out, they're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
He hasn't done well this year,
Right.
The highest points he scored in a week is 18.
Yeah. It was last week.
But and he hasn't played great defenses either. Saints, Panthers, 49ers, those are 3 defenses.
He is scrambling a lot though. He is rushing a lot. But I think
he's been averaging 30 yards.
Yeah, so I mean, first 2 weeks he rushed 7 times, then 2 weeks ago was 6, and last week was 5. So I mean, he is averaging a decent amount of yards per game on the ground, but it's still not really totaling a ton, just because they're not really putting the ball in the end zone a lot, So I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like they do have it. They are one of those teams where if you look up and a Kyler, Marv, unfortunately,
he's dropped so much.
Trey McBride stack is the one that gets you over the edge. I wouldn't be surprised, but that's a tough click for me just because I've gone there so many times and I've come up empty. So
no Dak. I don't think anybody's mentioned Dak.
Right.
He's got to be mentioned. He's the other side of that game that everyone.
He's been playing at such a high level this year. This guy is so goddamn good, but he's got nobody else. He's got nobody.
Yeah,
I mean, George Pickens, hopefully.
He's a potential flag plant for me.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to want to play Fields, and you could just as easily go to the other side.
It feels like him and Pickens figure something out. And Pickens has not had a bad year. I know we were talking in our group chat, and Blake was kind of shitting on Pickens, and then all of a sudden he just rips off a 30-point game.
Put him in the top, a single game performance that put him in the top 5.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He heard Blake talking shit, but
it worked. Instant I said that.
Yeah, I mean, Pickens has 4 touchdowns on the year. Last game he had 11 targets. That's elite, 134 yards. So I don't know. Maybe he is kind of stepping up and filling that opportunity, that role that CD kind of left void as an alpha that I think a lot of people had already seen in him that he could have, but it's just never put the pieces together. But we'll talk about receivers in a second. But yeah,
I think I like Dak. It's going to be hard to spend the extra $400 on a slate that I'm looking to save every dollar.
Looking like I don't know what the solver says on 1 week season. They have Fields projected almost 15%. And Dak at 6%. So
Fields is at 20 right now.
Yeah, I feel like in single
Dak's
entry,
at
he
5.
comes in a lot higher than that. I feel like he could be upwards of 30 plus. So, but again, we saw what he could do. We just saw him rip off that 60-yarder after looking terrible in the first half. I thought this was one of those week 2 games where he only had single-digit points, and then in the second half just rips off a massive run. So he's kind of always had that in his back pocket, so where he could easily have the score that you needed on the week at the end of it. So it's kind of you eat that ownership just because the upside is so elite for him.
Yep.
Do y'all want to do flag plants?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right,
go ahead, Trey.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm gonna go Bo Nix.
Whoa, okay.
Against Philly. One of the concepts that 1 week season and a lot of those guys champion is trying to find a pair of receivers that could equate to a 7K stud, but get that amount of volume. And I think Troy Franklin and like Marvin Mims doubles with him are pretty interesting this week. Philadelphia, like I know that on paper they're supposed to be the scary defense. I think if there's one coach who can kind of figure out this boring tush push brand of play, it's Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And Bo Nix, I mean, he's got the rushing upside. Cortland Sutton is another interesting piece that has just been balling this year, and so I like Denver to kind of take it to Philly. And I like that game to kind of become more of a shootout than like of a defensive standoff. And so I'm gonna go with Knicks.
Knicks coming off a 29-point week. Did I just completely miss that? Oh wait, that was on Monday night. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't really pay too much attention to Monday, but yeah, that's interesting. I actually like that one a lot. What about
It's
you, Blake?
interesting.
I don't think Blake likes it.
I'm not super into Knicks this week. Yeah, I'm not into a lot of quarterbacks, right? I think for me, just it's out of the three of Dak, Fields, and Herbert, right? And I think I'm gonna go like my favorite play, safe play would be Dak. I think I will go there. I'll probably end up playing Fields though. But I want to, if I can get the $400 to get to Dak, I think Dak's gonna be my number one.
Gotcha. I think I'm going to go to Goff. I think this is an interesting game environment. I think not a lot of people are going to want to be on this one just because of the opponent, right? They're playing Cincy. They've been like completely lifeless since Joe went down. They just cannot figure it out. But it just feels like sometimes his opponents don't matter with Detroit. Like sometimes they get into these modes where they just go crazy, put their foot on the gas. And I know that he hasn't really done a ton since week 2. But I feel like this is one of those instances where they could just kind of like flex their offensive muscles. And, as long as Montgomery doesn't take 2 touchdowns away from the offense, which is a potential always,
Yeah. So that's my one pushback. Well, 2, I got 2 things with the retro. One was going to be the rushing, right? Yeah. Why risk getting anybody hurt in this game when you're probably going to win this game, right? Yeah. So just run David Montgomery and just let him go crazy. And 2, the home away golf splits.
Right.
Home away golf splits are pretty bad, man. I don't know if you.
Yeah, but he gets to play Cincy this week. that's my counter to the home away. I hear you on that one. They are pretty bad, but again, it's Cincy. I don't know that there is a more lifeless team in the league right now. And we're Saints fans, right? But at least they put up a fight every week. It seems maybe not against Seattle, but
yeah. I mean, I think Goff obviously has the weapons to just blow up at any second, and he can hit all of them running backs on a pass, right? And then we take it to the house. So I could easily see him putting up 4 touchdowns. And I think the quarterback who scores 30 on the week is going to be the quarterback won by a mile. So, if he puts up, finally has Jameson on a big play, hits another 2 somewhere else, they're going to score 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's just his passing.
The thing I'm worried about with golf is just like they are so overmatched. Well, the Bengals are like, and I think about like what Jordan Mason did to them week 3, right. what RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins did to them last week. I think it's good. They're like their pass rate over expectations is probably gonna be lower this week. I would predict like they're gonna go more rushing heavy, and I think Gibbs and Montgomery are just gonna grind this game away. Cincinnati can't do anything on the offensive side of the ball, and so they're not gonna have a reason to air it out. Detroit, and I think Detroit has a pretty solid defense. So I think they're gonna try to get ahead early and just grind it out with Sonic and Boom.
Yeah. All right, boys, you heard it here first.
Sonic and Tails, rather.
It's 2-1 against my flag plant, so that means it's definitely hitting. Definitely going to be the high score on the week. Probably not. I've been like pretty terrible on flag plants on this show. So,
like, how many quarterbacks are you limiting your? Because I like to ask this as a smaller position group. How many quarterbacks are you limiting your player pool to?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing 1, maybe 2 lineups. So I pick 3, and I'll make a bunch of lineups around those, and then just whatever ones I feel most comfortable with, I'm throwing 1, maybe 2 lineups in.
So your 3 are going to be Fields, Dak, and Herbert.
Herbert, yeah.
I think if you are MMEing or you just like to limit position groups, I think it's pretty easy to get to 10 or below in this slate. Like I would personally, I will X out Browning. I'm Xing out Bryce Young, Geno, CJ Stroud, Tua, Rush,
Cooper
Campbell.
Rush, yeah, Ward, all the bottom guys for sure. Probably the only two bottom guys I wouldn't completely X out would be Stroud and Geno as far as like projection or.
I just got to see
yeah.
it from Stroud, man. But yeah, he maybe.
It's the Ravens, dude.
Yeah,
he could easily. Nico
defense.
could put up 40 points this week, easy. If they could just hold the ball a little bit, you know, protect them a little bit.
All right, well, let's move on to running backs. Let's see what we got here. Interesting slate. A lot of the big dogs are not on this one. You know, Bijan's not here. CMC isn't here. Where are we thinking we go for running backs?
Let's start with just like the huge values, right? So, I mean, you're probably looking at Rico, Rashad White, Michael Carter's popping, but I don't feel good about that one. I don't know that he's going to get that many touches, right? So, I don't know. Are y'all buying Michael Carter on this?
I mean, let's talk about real quick. Let's hit like the most chalky plays. It looks like Achane is going to be the chalkiest. Rashad White coming up next. Well, I'm sorry, Hampton is the. I'm sorry again. So it's Achane, Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Hampton, and Rashad White and Gibbs all over 20% on 1 week season. I don't know if there's some,
and even Rico, yeah,
he's creeping up there too.
Even Rico is high. Like there's only good plays and then really bad plays. Right. So it's like Javante's at 17.8. So I'm looking at small field ownership.
Are we eating the chalk on some of these running back plays or what?
Yeah,
I'm trying to look now to see.
I think the good running back plays are so good. You're going to be eating it because there's like why go anywhere else?
Yeah, Achane feels if
for me playing a single lineup, like you have to go Achane.
He feels like
it's unreal
in single entry. Do you remember some of the percentages last week? I know Bijan came in like a little.
I seen some. I don't think Bijan was the highest.
No, CMC was definitely the highest. I'm pretty sure, right?
And I think CMC came in like high 40s.
Yeah, so I think Achane could eclipse that. I think he could be over 50 and maybe like a sub 1K entry tournament. I could definitely see Achane coming in over 50% or close to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned Michael Carter, but like the reason he's popping his values because he's stone cold 4K minimum.
Right.
And you talk about ambiguous backfields. Like a lot of people think DeMarcado has been their pass catching back, but he could potentially be their 1A. And so, it
could be anybody. He hasn't played, and who are like who's their other backup running back?
In the past, like if you go look at his game log, he's had a 30-point game before.
He's not bad running for a backup running back.
Last year, at the end of the year, he was the starter in place of Connor, right?
Because Benson was out, I think.
Yeah.
When was he with the? I'm thinking, wasn't he with the Jets?
Dude, he was with the Jets like 3-4 years ago.
With the Jets. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember him from those days. I don't remember him doing anything noteworthy at Arizona, but look, he could get more touches. He may not get a lot of touches, but he could get more than we all think. He's not the guy that wins you the slate, especially against a Tennessee run defense. But if you're jamming studs at other positions, he's an interesting play because he's only 4% owned and he's stone cold min 4K. Falls in the end zone twice.
You're asking a lot. So, like, here's the thing: Michael Carter has played 6 snaps last week. Right, got 1 rush, or 6% of snaps. Sorry, got 1 rush. Bam Knight hasn't touched the field at all.
I mean, it's gonna be DeMarcado or Carter that are gonna be playing most of the snaps. Like, it's just whether or not you trust the DeMarcado.
How much is he?
It's whether or not you touch his touches or you trust Carter's touches, right? So, DeMarcado caught the touchdown at the end of the game last week. He was in on that final drive the whole time. I think Benson was already kind of injured, and that's why they were holding him out. So maybe that's why he was in on those pass catching down. So I don't know. So to me, I probably won't go there this week. I probably lean more towards the more expensive side. I think Javonte Williams is probably like one of the better plays on the slate, in my opinion. Just getting a piece of that game that we kind of touched on already. Scatterboo could be interesting.
I think Scatterboo could be a really big, be in for a really big week.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been getting so many targets, but I mean, he was getting a lot of targets with Russ. He got 8 targets week 3, but that was with Russ, right, against Kansas City. He only got 2 last week, so that's not great. Like, I feel like Jackson Dart just doesn't want to check down too much, but he also got 25 rush attempts, and I think the Saints, you're going to be able to run the ball against them, and they're going to score somehow. So I think they ride Scatterboo.
I'm sorting by projection. Michael Carter is the 16th best projection on the slate, and he's projected to look at some of these names. He's projected to outscore David Montgomery, Woody Marks, Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet, J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, Bill Krosky, Merritt, Nick Chubb,
and that's why he's going to catch ownership.
But he's not. He's 4%. So it's like, I got to look at the other position. Like, I'm not going to X him out because, like, if I'm just like, if I'm clicking,
this will be a news thing. We'll probably get a little more clarity
by position. He's not the guy that's going to win me the slate. But if I find other stuff where he fits and he could take it, like, he's kind of an interesting piece, I think, this week.
So why wouldn't you pay $300 more for Rico Dowdle, who you know is going to get all the run?
Because we talk about this all the time, but ownership, he is 5x 5x the ownership. So look, I think Rico's a better play by a mile.
Yeah. Okay, you're just saying, like, you know, a guy who's going to get some touches, you believe at 4K, like, you don't care. You're in.
I'm just curious to see, like, is there like something I really like at other positions where he's the finishing piece to a lineup, not a lineup I start with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's just so many good plays at running back this week. I can't do that. Now,
I'm saying is, like, keep in mind his price.
If you're doing a 150, right, by all means. But like, even if you're doing like 5 lineups, I don't think I'm going with him because usually it's just like, just look at the top. The top's so good.
Usually guys with this opportunity come in at like 15-20% ownership. He's 4 and he's 4K min. So, like, I'm interested.
But we don't know he's for sure getting the snaps.
We know he's getting more than anybody ever at 4K though. It's kind of like the Marcus Mariota stuff at the other, like, when you have a guy this low that has this much of a, like, ambiguous projection, he might end up making sense in retrospect.
He did have 15 and 21 touches in the same role last year. So,
and this is like a Michael Carter thing. Like, this is his role in the NFL. Like, he's like an inactive when the top guy is healthy. But when that guy goes down, Michael Carter is like, he becomes this really weird, but like really pretty good running back.
He's the
I don't know. Like, he doesn't play special teams. That's why. But like, when he has these opportunities to be a runner, he actually does pretty well. So,
okay. Yeah. We kind of talked about this a bit on the like themes of the week. Are you leaning 3 running back this week?
Yeah, I mean, I have to go. I have to go 3. There's no way I'm not going to 3. It's just, how am I mixing this 3 up, right? Am I going to find a way to do Taylor, Achane, and then maybe go down to like Brees for salary relief, or, you know, maybe 3 of the mid guys like Scatterboo, Hampton, you know, and then maybe Brees or something like that, right? That's the only question. You know, what is left at wide receiver after I start at the top guys is how I'm going to fill this out.
That's the thing. I like just looking at the position. Like, obviously, I want to get those 3 guys, but I'm curious to see if there's other values I like that make someone like a Michael Carter or a Brees or, you know, a Scatterboo, someone in that kind of 2nd tier, makes sense for a build. But yeah, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane and Gibbs have such good matchups this week that it's like it's tough to. I feel like you're gonna have one of those guys, and you got to get the right guy because we learned this last week. Like you had to have Hampton, and you had to have like either Genty. I think it was Genty and Juggins, and then you had to have the right stud. Which
it's interesting that you brought up Genty. He seems like he's not catching nearly as much ownership or projection as some of these other guys, which is interesting. Coming off of that massive week,
nobody believes it. It was the Bears. I don't believe it. I don't think he can repeat it.
I mean, he's Ashton Genty.
Yeah,
he's a generational prospect.
That's dude, crazy. It's the running. It's like the offense running on the offense. It's not him.
You don't think he can do that again?
I'm not making that bet this week. Like, do I think he can? Sure. I'm not making that bet, especially with him at 6,700. You know,
I'm not out on it. I actually had him earmarked as because I'm sitting here trying to think of flag plants on the fly. Yeah, I think that was a huge confidence boost for him last week. And I don't know if you're superstitious about like his stance. There was big news around that and during the off season, and the coaches were trying to make him like stand, but he's gotten back to his college stance, and then he goes off. So
I think they played the Bears.
Maybe it's like, Genty's time now. Indianapolis doesn't really scare me, like in terms of like a solid run defense, but nothing Genty can't. But if you go watch the tape,
I'm not saying he's a bad play. I'm just not saying he's a great play.
He was running through guys like he looked awesome.
There's no doubt. Like he's been looking good and just not producing. Right? He's been, I think he had more yards after contact than actual rush yards in one of the games.
I remember last week thinking like when he was going off, I was like, God, I wish I was on this dude, and nobody seemed to be on him. There was a few people on him that were talking about
the
matchup and stuff like that, but there were just so many guys last week that I felt like we were on some of them. There were just so many that went just crazy that nobody was really on. So I just want to talk about guys that we seem to have blind spots for, and I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't. If he goes out and scores another 30-pointer this week, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm gonna feel sick that I don't have him in my lineup. But yeah, I don't know. Y'all want to get the flag plants, or is there anybody else that we want to talk about while we're here?
Real quick exercise. So of these 4 cheap chalk backs, Rico Dowdle, Rashad White, Michael Carter. I guess you could throw DeMercado in there. Yeah, how would you rank those, Blake? Rashad White, Rico Dowdle.
Rico's clear, far and above to me, just because I know what I'm getting. I'm not going to get a 0 in that lineup, right? So I think Rico's the top, and I like the matchup the best too. The next one would probably be Rashad. Like Sean Tucker may sprinkle in a bit, but I think it's going to be mainly Rashad, and he's probably going to get a lot of catches. And then, like I said, I really just don't. I don't have any good feeling on the Arizona guys, so I'm just like, I'm out.
I think for me, I probably lean Rashad White just because we've seen him do it. Like last year, he's never been a great running back, but when he has the role of like the pass catcher, and there's nobody really, like obviously Bucky Irving is taking grab of like the main guy role. But I mean, just last year alone, he had games of 20 plus a couple times, I believe. So I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a focal guy, especially in the pass catching, because like when he has the ball in his hands, he is a good runner. But for some reason, when he's like just a pure between the tackles runner, he's just not the same as like a Bucky Irving, obviously. But
I mean, this is why I was so bullish on him in best ball. Like he might be one of the best handcuffs. Like when he has the opportunity in the back of the hill, he's a top 15 back easily every week. So
let me throw this interesting nugget out. Right, when Kevin was talking about Goff, it got me thinking. Well, first of all, let me ask this question. I guess who do y'all like best? Taylor, HN, Gibbs?
Out of those,
like, is it
three?
like? Do you have a chance of putting Gibbs? Like, is Gibbs actually a thought to be at number 1 there?
Oh hell yeah,
yeah.
I know you, Trey. I know you're you're number 1 overall on him, right?
He still hasn't done it to where he still hasn't had a week where like you would say that it was like a had to have it week. He hasn't had like a JT week or even a Bijan from last week, right?
If you had to put money on one of them, who's scoring the most?
Kevin, this is the week right here.
Yeah, this is the week. So this goes into my next question, right?
Cincinnati's terrible, bro.
Do you think you can do Gibbs Montgomery on the same lineup this week?
I would do that in a showdown. I don't think I would do it on a 10-game classic. I mean,
yeah, probably not.
Dude, they could have 4 touchdowns between.
I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to just bank on accounting for all of the touchdowns in that game coming from the Detroit side, and it's just one of those where they're the two main pieces that are running in.
I said 4 touchdowns. They're favored for their team totals 30 points. So like,
I mean,
there's still room to go.
They've had games like that. Like last week, Montgomery had 32.4 and Gibbs had 27 something against Baltimore.
Well, Well, just look last weekend. Let's see.
In week 3, Montgomery had 32 and Gibbs had 27.
So the Bengals played Denver last week, which I think we all agree is not quite the same caliber of offense. RJ Harvey put up 19.8 points, and Dobbins had 11 PPR points. So with the bonus, because he had 100 yards, it'd be 14.5.
Right.
Like,
I like
that's not the best offense there either, right? So
it's going to be different. It's going to be a lone combination.
It's going to be very different.
If you don't play, I like that. Like both of those guys with none of the Lions pass catchers. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, because in that build, you're just banking on all the touchdowns going through them, and we've seen it happen. I mean, week 3, they both scored 2, right? Or did Gibbs only get 1 that week? I know Monty had 2.
I feel like Gibbs.
Yeah,
Gibbs had 2 in week 3.
I don't know.
They both had 2.
Yeah.
So
I like that call out, Blake.
Yeah, that's definitely
because Montgomery, I never like to click on him, and I never probably play him, but this week, I'm really, really tempted to put him in there because, like I said, I think Detroit just may be like, I'm going to rest all my superstar guys. I'm not going to risk them getting hurt. So we're just going to jam David Montgomery down these guys' throats.
All right, let's get to flag plants because we're kind of making this a long one. So, Trey, you want to go first?
I'm going to go with Brees. He's too cheap, man. He started the year almost $1,000 more expensive than this, and he's $1,000 less by week 4 for absolutely no reason. The Braylon Allen cute stuff is over with. Dallas is the worst defense. He seems like a screaming value for me. At home, 5,600. Like, I mean, we were just talking about David Montgomery. $400 cheaper. I don't know. Brees
not that much, yeah.
Brees is kind of standing out. I know he's going to be chalk. I think he's like a top 5 chalk back, but I feel like he might be a staple this week.
I was about to call you out on it. He's actually he's the 3rd chalkiest back, 34%.
Like your flag plants have been like the top 2 chalkiest guys the last 3 episodes.
Hey, I love it. I think Brees is a great play. I would flag plant him too. So
I'll think of a not chalk one while you guys go.
No, you don't need to. Hey, Brees is the play, the RB play. For me, I think, like I said, I really, really love Montgomery this week just because I feel like it's 15 points floor. But does that work when I feel like Jonathan Taylor could put up another 30? Achane could put up another 30. Yeah. Brees could put up another 30. Gibbs could steal a touchdown, put up 30. I think Hampton's a great play. He's not going to put up 30 again. I don't think. We'll see.
The only thing with Montgomery is like he's averaging 10 touches a game, so he's got to be super efficient for it to hit. But I do like the chances this week against this Bengals defense for sure.
For a large field, I'd go Montgomery. For small field, I think my number 1 would be just go ahead, jam in Jonathan Taylor.
My non-chalky flag plan is Woody Marks, by the way.
I like that one. I think mine will be Javonte Williams. I think I want to go to this game again. I want to get pieces of this game. He's had some really good games, and like we talked about who's left? This is another one of those scenarios where they just keep losing guys. Did y'all say Turpin went down, or was it Tolbert?
Turpin went down. They did say Jaden Blue is getting activated this week. If that scares you,
right? Which
very unserious.
Take it for what it's worth. He seems like the most unserious rookie I've ever seen in my life, and I've drafted him in like multiple dynasty leagues.
He like quote tweeted the announcement. I don't know who it's from, Schefter or what. He's like, "Uh-oh," yeah. And then like 10 minutes later, this blisters things comes out on this. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, decides to wear.
Yeah, Miles Sanders is questionable.
Yeah, so
that's why
I think I want to get some pieces of this game and kind of get a little bit different. Not that he's like super not chalky. I think he's still carrying double-digit ownership projections, but a far cry from like the 30 to 30% ownership that like the top guys are. And I think he could he has a ceiling of like a 25 to 30 point game like in his repertoire for sure. So yeah, obviously the top guys are the top guys on the slate for a reason, but if you want to kind of get off of the super chalky like Achans and JTs, then I feel like this is a good way to go too. So
why is he $600 more than Brees? It's interesting.
Yeah,
Brees is like weirdly cheap, dude. Like I don't understand it. Like this is an elite.
Well, he hasn't done much this year, right? He's I don't know. He's got like 50% hit rate. I'll say week 1, 19.5 points. Week 2, 5.8 points. Week 3, 9.2 points. Week 4, 16.1. The Jets have just been bad and like not a fun offense. And
I'm pretty sure that those prices came out before the Monday night games. So
yeah, probably.
Yeah, they're probably pricing in his weeks 1 through 3 performances and all of that too. So all right, let's move on to receivers. Try to make this a little bit quicker since there aren't any of the big dogs again really on this slate. What are we thinking? Obviously, let me see who is the top projected guy. It's probably going to be
JSN.
It's JSN, then Garrett Wilson, and then Amon-Ra, Quentin Johnson, and Pickens are the top 5. So any of these guys that are kind of standing out to you?
Yeah, I think my question to y'all is like like JSN, I think is smash, right? I think he's going to destroy Tampa. Like he's the only weapon. Like Tampa Bay's a pass funnel. So Sam Darnold's just going to be peppering JSN. So to me, I don't think we really need to talk too much about that one. My question is like this Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, how confident are we that they're going to play well this week?
For me, I'm leaning into it again. I'm probably going to have a lineup that onslaughts this game, and
yeah, I mean,
has like 5 or 6 pieces from both sides in this game. So they're definitely at the top of my list for sure.
And Sauce Gardner's been kind of mid thus far this year. So, yeah, I think Pickens is still a pretty solid play.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've seen that him and Dak might have something after the last 2 games. He's had kind of a quiet. I'm not gonna say quiet. It is George Pickens. It's never quiet with Pickens, right? But weeks 2 and 3, both 17 point games, and then I'm pretty sure there were some long PI drawn PI in there too. So like probably could have had some bigger games. But then last week he just went nuts. 2 touchdowns, 134 yards, 11 targets. So I think that we've kind of always seen the talent in him. It was just whether or not he was going to be able to put it together. And he was dealt some pretty shitty hands in Pittsburgh when it came to quarterback play. But yeah, I definitely think Pickens is a smash play for sure.
My next question here, Jalen Waddle. Does he finally just come alive? He's been so just nothing. He's just been a big nothing burger, really, it feels like. I'm actually surprised. I pulled up week 2. He had 17.8 points. I don't remember him scoring 17.8 points. That's funny. But yeah, he just feels like he's never done anything since he signed that contract.
I'm interested to see him in this role. Because, I mean, with Tyreek gone, there's targets. And we talked about this doing the best ball stuff. This is the most condensed offense in the NFL. It just got more condensed. So I'm interested to see, like, is J.C. Horn and them boys in Carolina healthy? Because I remember they have
J.C. Horns has been great.
Yeah.
Is he healthy right now though? That's here. I'll go look up. You keep talking.
But yeah, he's interesting because I just think he should have a really high expected target volume. I mean, all of the Tyreek stuff presumably is going to be funneled through, Waddle and Achane now. So with a little bit going to Malik Washington. So yeah, he's I'm interested to see, but I don't know if he's a scary bet though, because it's like I feel like I need to see it first with him. I know he's got the talent, and Tua should be able to move the ball against the Panthers, but you just never know, man. Sometimes Tua has those games where he just looks like a second slow, and I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if he hits, then you're probably feeling amazing because you got a wide receiver one at 5,400 for cheap.
The Dolphins just have not been a fun team to click this year. Like, think back to week 1 where we thought that game that they were going to go crazy in week 1, and they just completely crapped the bed. And then every game it has felt like a slog. And then they lose Tyreek. What does that really do to Waddle?
No, it changes them. Why they could use Malik Washington in that role, or they can do something weird like last year and use Jonnu everywhere.
Here's a question for y'all: is there any world where you guys are clicking on Chase this week?
I was gonna talk about him. Hell yeah, there is. I would.
Yeah.
He's actually potential. Chase historically starts really slow.
Yeah.
The first 3-4 weeks of the season. And I know he's still got 2 months without Burrow, and they looked absolutely atrocious last week. But apparently he addressed the locker room after that game, and this dude's just too good to not have still find he is he's a sneaky slate winner this week. I think they're gonna have to they're just gonna. What pissed me off about watching that Bengals game last week is they were down 25 and they were punting on 4th down. Yeah. It's so they just felt like they gave up, and I feel like
Kellen Moore.
If they're gonna and if they're gonna try to salvage the season, at least to get Burrow back and maybe still try to get a wild card, this has got to be the guy. He could get 20 targets.
I mean, the crazy thing is we've seen him just this year put up almost 40 points with Browning.
With Browning,
so.
Here's the So here's
cheaper this year than
against a better defense. He's Jacksonville.
Been. He's 7,800. He's under 8K for probably the first time in over a year, maybe.
That's what I was just trying to
So
yeah, he's always been in the 8Ks, dude.
Yeah. The bull case for him is they're going to have to throw a ton, right?
He's gotten up to $10,800.
That's easy. The bear case to me is we were just talking about maybe rostering both running backs, which means it's just going to be keep away, right?
Yeah.
They may have the ball 15 minutes in this game, something stupid.
The craziest thing is, what is it on the solver? Because 1 week season still has him projected as the highest projected points.
He's at 17.5.
Yeah.
No, so ownership or points?
He's third. He's third.
I'm still
ceiling.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's third.
To still have him ranked that high with Browning, but that just goes to show you that
it's a statistical prediction.
They still think that he could do it
based on his history.
Right.
Yeah.
And then this is just one of those games. We talked about this a while back when we were talking about something else, but the Lions are just one of those teams where they just get into these games where you need both of where you just need them. And both sides of that ball in that game that week. I think back to they played Seattle a few years back. They were at home for that one, but you just needed every piece of that game. Hawkinson went for 40. That was when he was still playing with Detroit. So I would not be surprised if they for whatever reason come out and it's just Cincinnati can move the ball again. I wouldn't be surprised. Just mainly
it wouldn't surprise me either because Detroit is missing. Well, their number one guy, Terry Arnold, is hurt or out. I think he's just hurt, and he's just been bad this year, right? And number two, DJ Reed just went on IR.
The real question is whether or not we think that the O-line can give Browning any kind of time to get the ball to Chase, because that was something that they couldn't do for the last 2 weeks. So I don't know, but I mean,
it's terrible.
Again, he's single-digit ownership.
I don't think they have to give him time because they love throwing screens to Chase.
Single-digit ownership on a week where you got multiple guys over 20, like, it definitely feels like a way to get different, especially if you want to attack that game. You can do like like you compare him with like a Gibbs or something like that, because there definitely is a world where Gibbs gets receiving touchdowns instead of rushing touchdowns. So and
Gibbs has just as many catches as Achane, I believe, right now.
You hit it, Blake. I mean, Detroit's without CB1 this week. DJ Reed. They got some other cornerbacks on IR, and then their free safety.
Yeah, their number two just went to IR, and then their free safeties in danger of missing the game as well. So they're pretty beat up. So like, I don't hate it. I don't know. Maybe I need to go look back and how much is Jake Browning? Did we talk?
I mean, I kind of feel better about playing Chase than I do Amonra this week because I just think they're going to have Detroit's just going to run the ball.
We talk about how these games can become shootouts or how these games can become viable. If this game becomes viable, it has to be because Browning does something, right?
They have to have some life.
Yeah. So in order for that to happen,
the Lions could just score 50 and just
and
by
that's
themselves.
Definitely within the realm of possibility. But you would think that if there's any life in this game, it comes from because Browning pushes him, and he has to do that through Chase. You would think. So one guy I want to touch on real quick. We talked about Bryce Young a little bit earlier, but this feels like a really good spot for Tet against Miami. We feel good about Bryce being able to attack this defense. That would mean that you feel good about Tet.
You're saying a lot of we. Are you speaking French? Because like I don't feel good about Bryce or anything.
Well, I mean, Trey talked about Bryce a little bit earlier, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and has a really good game against Miami. Come on, dude.
I mean, Tech can have a good game irrespective of Bryce.
Well, I'm just saying.
Right? Like he put up 100 yards earlier this year.
Right.
And I think Bryce threw for like 150 or something.
You're getting caught up on the Bryce side. Let's just talk about
Well, you said we.
Jesus, Blake. You're killing me. He's getting a lot of targets. He's gotten no less than 8 targets this year. But not really a ton of catches, so I wonder how many catchable targets those really are. But yeah, I definitely think that he would be viable, especially at 57%. But yeah, I probably would lean QJ over Tet in that scenario. But I think they're highlighting Tet in this in the optimizer just because he has a little bit lower ownership than QJ does. But
I don't hate it, right? Like if you played him, and I'm not gonna make fun of you by any means. So let me ask the obligatory question here, though. Oh, you have one more thing on Tet?
No, go for it.
Olave. What do we think? Like, is he back to volume, or is he
last week that I was going to keep going back to him until he gave me a reason not to, and
he gave us a reason not to last week.
I think he did, but I don't know. This is one of those scenarios where like you could see this game environment kind of just picking up, between two bad teams. The Saints seem to play better at home, although they did play pretty decent. The score might not reflect it last week against the Bills, but he did get single digit targets last week for the first time this year, which does scare me. Only 20 yards. He did get a touchdown last week finally, which saved the day for him. Only coming in at 10 points, but he threw a pick. So I don't know, dude. I think, yes, he is still in play. It feels more gross than I thought it would because I thought that he was just going to compete.
5,200, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I still probably will keep trying to jam him into lineups just because I would be really hurt if he scores like 25, 30 points and I don't have him on a lineup after jamming him in for the first month. So I think I'm just gonna keep going back.
He still did get 6 targets, right? And he caught a touchdown finally, so that was nice. But it's just, yeah.
You would think that this is a better spot for him than going up against the Bills on the road. So I think he's a better play this week than he probably was last week, even though we were still playing him and jamming him in last week. But
the Giants got a really good front, but that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Like they can rush the passer, and that's it. Like they can't stop the run. They can rush the passer, but they can't stop the run.
How do you feel on that one?
On which one?
On Olave.
Olave.
Yeah, it feels like if I was gonna play I'm waiting for one of these games is gonna be an Olave or a Rashid Shaheed game, and this game feels like he could be either one of those guys.
Yeah,
I'm kind of into Rashid a little bit more. I just feel like there's a deep bomb coming with him, especially against this Giant secondary. Like, obviously, I like Olave for the target volume. It's just I got a bad taste in my mouth after last week. And
did we get an upgraded quarterback? You're talking about throwing a bomb to Shaheed?
Spencer
I felt better about I felt way better about Derek Carr hitting these bombs, man.
Rashid caught a bomb in week 2 against San Francisco. So I mean, it's there. And they haven't you've seen if you watched, and I know it's a hard watch. Hell, I've been watching it, but if you watch the Saints games, there's almost always a play action play that's designed to go deep to Shaheed. Kellen Moore calls it every game.
Yeah, I have to,
whether it's open or not. But he calls it, and so at one point he's got to hit. They 0-4. Spencer Rattler got to be practicing. I don't know. I like Olave just because of the price adjusted value, the target volume. But if something is telling the IKB in me is this could be a Rashid Shaheed game.
I think
the problem with me is I say that every week.
They just can't hit these big plays, and it feels like it's only a matter of time until they do. And I feel like this is a great spot for that. At home against a bad Giants team, Giants have a little bit of momentum with Dart and getting their first win of the season, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the week that the Saints get off the losing streak and finally get a win in the column. And I feel like Olave, Shaheed, or Juwan, I feel like 1 to 2 of those guys is going to have a really good week. At some point,
home game makes me feel better.
Yeah, this feels like one of those spots where if it's not now, then when is it going to happen? So
could be 0-16 season.
Very well could be
17.
I will say, touching on that real quick, I will say we were partly right on the fact that this team has been competitive outside of the Seattle game, which they were not competitive with at all. But they were leading. Were they not leading at one point? Or they got the pick or the turnover last week?
I think we have 0 snaps with the lead this year.
Right. So they weren't leading, but I think they got a pick when they were down only 3, maybe. So
the Saints could be 3-1, with a very small set of variables being flipped.
Right.
The Brandon Cooks touchdown got taken away in the comeback with Buffalo.
The
Juwan Johnson, obviously week 1. Drop, and I forget what happened in the other one, but yeah, they're right on the cusp of because Drew Brees said it, this team just needs to try to score 25 points or more, and they're kind of getting.
I don't think they're not trying. So,
but even in that week 2 game, Spencer missed a wide open Olave on a touchdown. Then you had the Olave interceptions. There's always this random play that takes away just enough of the time of possession for them to get to that point.
It's they suck at quarterback.
But I think they have the schematic, the scheme to do it. And if there's a week where it hits the upside, it's this one against the Giants, at home.
Let's get to flag plants. I know we touched on a lot of guys. Kind of want to keep this one moving a little bit if we can.
Yeah.
How do we want to do this? I know Trey wanted to do 3 last week, cheap, mid,
and, I got 3
expensive.
Again, dude.
Let's do 3. Go. I'm probably only going to give 1, but if Trey wants to give 3, do the cheap, mid tier, and then the expensive.
So the expensive is Jamar Chase. Again, we touched on it, but this is a prideful guy. he's the 99 club on Madden. Like, he is just not going to be a dude that strings together, 3 consistent single-digit fantasy point scoring outputs. I think, like, if Cincinnati is going to do anything, it is going to be through him. And so I think he's a super interesting, like, top of the salary cap wide receiver play this week. My mid-tier guy, I said it earlier in the week, and I know I just, like, raved about the Detroit rushing game, but Detroit is not an offense that doesn't at least take a shot every week.
Mm-hmm.
And Jameson Williams at 4,900 this week as a bring back to that chase play, super interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, I could see a game script where they're grinding it with Gibbs and Montgomery, and then there's just like a big play to Jameson Williams that sends him over the edge, right? Like, we said they got to get ahead to start that to start rushing a bit more to manage the game, and I think J-Mo's the guy, not a bomber like last week when they were going against who did they play last week? Baltimore. And so I thought, Cleveland. And I thought like they're going to need a lot of quick out stuff, and that's a Monroe all day. This feels like a game they can go over the top of the Cincinnati defense to J-Mo. We saw it last week. We were texting about it. There were so many air yards for Jameson Williams last week.
Like, most of a wide receiver since 2022.
There was like 5 deep bombs that just did not connect. And so I feel like there's going to be a guy that's hungry this week to get some action, and he's interesting.
Nice.
And then my third guy was going to be Rashid Shaheed for kind of the similar reasons. I think there's a big play. Honorable mentions, Troy Franklin, Malik Washington, Devontae Smith are kind of like Devontae Smith is $5,000. Some really interesting cheap guys down here. But yeah, those are my guys. Chase. Oh wait, no, I forgot one. I forgot. So replace Rashid.
Okay.
I know this is gross, but Lad McConkey is $5,500, dude. Like,
you're replacing a $4,500 with a $5,500 player?
Yeah, I am.
That's your cheap guy?
I don't think like Alien, like Space Jam came and zapped this dude's talent. I think Lad is still,
unless really, that alien's really Quentin Johnston, then yeah.
He's still, I think really, QJ's really good. And I think he's interesting this week because everyone's in on QJ, who's $200 more expensive now. So he is now flipped Lad McConkey.
Mm-hmm.
It's been disgusting. I've got him in a lot of home leagues. It's been tough.
He's getting 7 targets a game.
I'm not out on the talent. Like, I think a big Lad game is still coming at some point. And no one is going to want to play him this week against Washington. So I think Lattimore will probably shadow QJ, and I think Lad just in the slot role.
Lattimore's trash.
I think he's interesting this week. Again, just feels too cheap.
So for me, I think JSN's a pretty good smash, but he's the chalkiest play. But like the of the expensive plays, the one I'm probably going to force in my lineups is Garrett Wilson. I think they have to throw the ball to Garrett Wilson. This guy is so freaking. I think he would be in the talks of being one of the top 5 wide receivers if he ever had a good quarterback.
He's a catch artist. Like,
dude, that wasn't even an offensive pass interference last week. I don't care what anybody says. That was the weakest offensive pass interference I've ever seen. So yeah, I'm jamming him in every lineup for sure. For the mid tiers, I will just like make it holler muncher here. Still have from Trey. Debo. I think Debo has been playing great. He's the only person healthy on that freaking offense this week. He's just a little too expensive, so it's just hard to fit in there. But the middle one, man, like Olave, I guess. Like, you can go, I got to jam into Olave. Michael Pittman's been killing it. I do like Marvin Harrison too, and I think you're onto something with Jameson Williams. I think this is a week where they can like, say, hey, we got room to play, right? We basically with this team, so we're gonna try to get him going. But I think if I had to choose everybody that I know, like a person who's going to slam, which is a flag plant, would be QJ at 5,700. I think he's a wide receiver 1 alpha. I think this dude is showing out. He's unreal. He's tied to one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Great offense, way above pass rate above expectation, right? So, and you got Washington traveling all the way to the Los Angeles. So I just like everything about that. The cheap one. Here's one that has been mentioned, probably won't be mentioned in any of the podcasts as they all listen to or anything like that. I think Darius Slayton comes out and balls this week. I think he's going to torch the Saints. I think the Saints can't put pressure on him. Dart likes to throw deep. I think Darius Slayton is going to go off. He's always been just a decent talent, especially on these deep balls. So yeah, I'm a believer with Neighbors this week. They're going to work, get some packages in. You can't tell me they're going to force the ball to Wandale more. Like,
he's the wide receiver 1 now, and no one wants to play it. Like 1.67 against the Saints defense.
Blake is putting him in there.
1.67%.
All right.
At 4,300.
I like it. I'm going to keep this short and sweet since you guys named like 15, 20 wide receivers so far. I'm just going to name one. Obviously, like all those guys that y'all mentioned, we've touched on a lot of them of the good plays. But I'm gonna go back to Tet. I think Tet is my one flag plan on the week. I just think he's just so good, man. Like,
he's a dog.
I think he's gonna have a blow up game sooner than later, and I don't think that there's a better chance for them to do that than in this matchup against Miami. So yeah, I'm going to Tet. We might have our reservations with Bryce. We might. But I'm gonna lean on Tet, and I think that this is one of those had to have it weeks from Tet this week. So, and obviously all the guys, Olave, all the guys that we talked about already, flag plan them all. No, that might not help y'all since we're flag planning like 20 receivers, but there's a ton of like.
I flag planted 3, thank you.
But okay, let's move on to tight end. This might be a little bit shorter of a conversation, hopefully. What do we think?
Yeah, we could. I think there's 4 tight ends, maybe 5 you can look at, right? Tyler Warren is clear favorite. Trey McBride, I think, can have a huge game this week as well. Jake Ferguson, like, this dude's tight end 1 fantasy, I think, right now.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think he's going to slow down this week. He's Dak's security blanket. And then the 2, I'll call them punts that I'm looking at. Well, I guess 3. Darren Waller. I think he could be sneaky with Tyreek going out. I think they're going to force things to him, kind of like they did Jonnu. I mean, the guy caught 2 touchdowns last week. Not bad. Yeah. Mason Taylor, super cheap. And also Theo Johnson could be a decent punt as well if you need.
Any thoughts, Trey?
Yeah, I really like the Mason Taylor call out. We talked about it at the top of the show. His targets have increased steadily each week, and I think he's an interesting pivot to the Garrett Wilson chalk. Like, I kind of like a Fields, Brees, Mason Taylor kind of building block this week. As just so, like, I love Garrett Wilson to play, but if you want to play into that game and get a little different, I think that's interesting. Obviously, I'm always going to be in on the elite guys. Brock Bowers, man, it might be one of the saddest storylines for me from a best ball standpoint.
Yeah.
I mean, he's come out quoted today. He's just like, I feel like I can't get separation right now. I can't do that to the best of my ability. But he's playing through it. I want to not be worried about him because the bags are heavy. But he, it's tough. But I mean, Trey McBride, this week he's due for a breakout. And again, he every week he's going to be like 15 to 20% owned. But the week he hits, he's always a guy you had to have. So I think he's interesting if you want to spend. I mean, there's a lot of value at running back to where you can get to him. And then obviously Tyler Warren, he's just been a revelation for the Colts. He's going to be chalky, but I think, is it Pittman?
He got a rushing touchdown, dude.
I mean, they use him all over the field. Pierce is out again. I think Pittman is a little banged up.
Pittman's got a Q tag, but I think he's fine.
And they might put Adonai Mitchell in the doghouse after what he did last week.
No, they removed the Q tag off Pittman.
So he's super interesting. I see why he's 25% owned projected, but Laporta, again, that game environment we keep talking about. I think Laporta and or Jamison Williams, one of those guys is gonna score a touchdown. So
they're gonna get some money, right?
And I guess we're just talking holistically about the position. Dallas Goedert has quietly been just tearing it up.
Yeah.
And I am a believer in Darren Waller, particularly with Tyreek going down as like a red zone target for them.
Goddard has double-digit points in all 3 of his games that he's played so far. He didn't play week 2.
Hurts can't throw the ball farther than 5 yards deep, so he's got Goddard all day there.
I mean,
man.
He ran hot last week. 4 targets, 2 touchdowns. He did have a touchdown in week 3 as well. So 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. I mean, yeah, you could definitely do worse at the position for sure. For me, I think it comes down to Ferguson, Warren. We touched on it again. All the shine that the Saints players had going into last week, it's been last week kind of wiped it away. Juwan only had 3 targets last week, but again, we keep talking about this game environment at home. I think he's in play, even though it feels a little worse to click him now that he has a single-digit point week on his resume. So yeah, do we want to just get to flag plants?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'll go first because you guys probably should never listen to me at this position for flag plants, considering I flag planted Isaiah Likely last week, who was a stone cold 0. I'm going to take Mason Taylor just because I think one of you guys will take him. I like him this week. Like I said, I like the Fields Brees Taylor building block.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a lot of targets last week, and in a lot of like high pressure moments too, like high leverage.
2,800 too is
situations. Super cheap.
4% own. Yeah, he's sticking out for sure.
You get a piece of that game, and
my honorable mention was going to be Zach Ertz. I think when Jaden Daniels plays, he tends to feed Ertz, and so he's back this week. I think that's an interesting way to get into that side of the ball in that game.
Kevin, go ahead.
All right. I think I'm going to go to Ferguson. I'm going to stick with Ferguson. I'm going to keep riding a hot hand. I mean, talk about a season that he's having. I mean, last week 17 points, the week before 21 points, 16.8. I mean, a 3-week stretch that not many tight ends have come close to this year, especially. So finally got into the end zone last week. Caught all of his targets. I just think that this is an offense that I want to keep riding. Dak has looked really freaking good this year, and Ferguson has been one of his more reliable guys, especially with CD out. He's been a target funnel, 12, 14, and 7 the last 3 weeks. So, yeah, I again, we keep talking about this game environment, and I think that Ferguson is a great way to play it too, especially if you don't play Pickens. I feel like he's a good leverage spot to get off of Pickens. But
yeah. So I completely agree, and that's who I would flag pick if it wasn't for his price. I don't think I'll be able to get up there. Like, why are tight ends so expensive now? Like the first few weeks they were so cheap and it felt so good. Now they're so freaking expensive. And you could say Tyler Ward is a good value. Trey McBride's probably not a bad value either. But
Tyler Warren is only $100 cheaper.
Well, $4,700 for what you're getting though, part-time running back plus tight end.
I guess.
Just the engine of that offense, right? It's good. But I think what I'm doing is I'm going to try to punt, and I think when you punt, you're looking for touchdowns, and I'm going to go to the guy who had 50% red zone targets, or 50% of his targets were red zone targets last week, in Darren Waller.
Yeah.
So 3,500. It's not like a perfect punt, but.
The year of our Lord, 2025, and we're flag planting Darren Waller at tight end. This is crazy.
I'm so pissed because I had like him in my double spy lineup last week that would have banged.
That's wild.
And I pulled it out last week.
This is the state of NFL DFS in 2025 week 5 is
that's this freaking slate, dude.
Is a viable flag plant on the slate. All right, let's move on to defenses. Let's close this out. we
Just pick our favorite here.
Yeah,
we don't
don't
want
really
to spend any
a ton
time
of
on this.
time on defense. Again, there's so much variance when it comes to defense, and whether or not one of them is going to score a touchdown or not. I think wasn't it like the first or second play, Eagles scored a defensive touchdown this past week. So, yeah, what you guys leaning anyway, or is it just salary relief for you guys here?
As always for me,
Yeah.
punt, and they actually have some really good punt defenses this week.
There's not a guy.
I think
there's not a unit to spend up for this week. So
yeah, I mean, you could. Everybody against the Titans have been great. So I mean, you got the Cardinals there,
True.
right?
Yeah, but it's like,
and if the Lions beat the brakes off the Bengals, they're gonna be throwing it a lot more chances for sacks, pick sixes, whatever, right? So you could spend up.
You could also save salary and save ownership. Because I think a lot of people are going to be flocking towards the Cardinals and the Lions, which obviously
Saints are the highest.
Colts, Saints, and Ravens round out the top 5 defense. That should tell you everything. Like,
oh yeah,
Saints are the highest projected on
18%. That's crazy to me because we
at
just
2,200.
We just watched Dart do what he did against who we thought was a slam dunk defense last week. But again, the price
he didn't do that much. He threw for 100-something yards, right?
I mean, he scored multiple touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, but what was the final score of that game? It was only like 21, right? 21 and 18 something.
Dart scored 19 points. He threw for 100. He rushed a touchdown in, and he threw a touchdown.
Yeah, 21-18. It's like, yeah.
But they only scored 6 points last week. That's my point. Like, you would have thought that they would be in line for a bigger game. And yeah, they didn't like give up a ton of points, but they also didn't do much from a defensive standpoint. Is my point.
They got 6 sacks. Dang, Chargers got 6 sacks on the Giants.
Yeah, I guess. Do you think that the Saints are going to get 6 sacks? I don't
care for $2,200. I don't care. $2,200, and I give me 3 sacks.
I guess,
and a potential interception, right?
Too, though, like we kind of touched on this. This might be like a more of a theory thought process, but like we always talk about salary relief and just punting defenses, and as soon as the good defense that you should have been on scores a touchdown, you feel like shit for punting defense and only getting like 2 or 3 points out of them. So
exactly,
like, is it worth the couple $100 to save on salary when you could kind of give yourself a good floor on defense? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that it feels bad when you don't have the defense that scores like 10 plus points. So,
but then it also feels really good when you play the stone cold cheapest defense because nobody else is playing them and you needed salary relief and then they score a touchdown, right?
True.
I've had that happen.
The question is, how often does that happen, though? I guess that would be a data question for us. But if we even have access to that, I don't even know. But yeah, I don't know. I probably lean salary relief. I can put something together.
I think for me, flag planning Texans against Cooper Rush and the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens defense sucks. I think their offense is going to suck now. Texans have a pretty good defense. They're not going to be able to throw the ball at all on Stingley and company. So it's just, hey, stop the big dog.
Yeah.
Which the Browns did.
Seahawks are interesting. I'm surprised the Texans are, I guess,
2,400.
I guess they were priced that way before Lamar was out.
The Seahawks game log is crazy.
Yeah.
8, 22, 16, and 11.
The Seahawks are interesting to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they've been scoring that much. Dang. Yeah, they're a good defense. And they've been playing terrible offenses.
But like you said, there's
4 terrible offenses
multiple
they played.
Teams that are under 3K that are interesting this week from a defensive standpoint. I don't think you can go wrong on any of these.
I don't think you'll ever see the Broncos be this cheap, right?
Yeah.
27.
Like in the Eagles, like we talk about, like they've been so boring. They got off to slow starts against the Rams and Tampa Bay, and I feel like Denver, like that's a better unit. I don't know. I know it's scary to go against the high-powered Eagles, but they're an interesting play to me because
don't clip this, Eagles fans or whatever, but like some of these defensive scores have been kind of fluky. Right, like a block punt or a block kick.
I'd argue all defense scores are fluky.
Well, I guess I hate it.
Well, not like a pick six or like a fumble recovery for a touchdown type thing, but like a block kick for return for a touchdown, I feel like that's fluky. Yeah, I don't know. They've been running super hot when it comes to that the last 2 weeks. So do they keep it up? Do they continue doing that? I don't know. It's tough. To me, that's a tough, because look at their first 2 weeks, 3 points and 5 points, playing against Dallas and KC. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to the Eagles, but
No.
If you look up in their and red zone is flashing to them because they blocked another punt and returned it for a touchdown, I wouldn't be surprised, just because that's kind of what they seem to be like really good at doing the last few weeks.
Yeah, my flag point was going to be the Texans.
Double down on them. That's fine.
Yeah, it's defense.
Why not?
I think
Take your salary relief you need it on the slate.
I think I'd probably go Seahawks or Texans. I know you're spinning up a little bit more for Seahawks, but those are probably the two that I lean. And I guess Saints, just because they're playing a rookie on the road, and they're 2,200. I doubt the Saints score any kind of touchdown on defense, but maybe.
Chargers or Broncos, and I know it's like those games are supposed to be exciting offenses, but I like the Chargers at home. They're a good defense.
Commanders have no weapons.
Jaden Daniels is hobbled, and they have no weapons, and Derwin James and those dudes, man, there's some dogs, and I feel like when they play at home, they're a pretty dominating unit, and so I like the Chargers at 3K, and I also like the Broncos against the boring Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they're on the road, like I said it before the season, I think it's the best defense in football.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty solid. I mean, they had, besides for the weird Indianapolis Colts week, but 14 points against Tennessee. 7 points when they played the Chargers, a good offense, and then 10 points against the Bengals. So
Nice.
those will be my two. But I really like the Texans.
Nice. All right. You guys got anything else that you want to touch on before we wrap this up?
Yeah, it's been really long, so this is a really gross slate. So I think talking through it helped a bit. But yeah, this is going to be a gross.
I hope we get some good slates again. But I know dealing with these bye weeks and that we're starting to deal with a little bit more might put us behind the 8 ball. 6 games on the early slate just feels weird. But we'll see how it goes. I think, like we said, we'll probably be heavy on this Cowboys-Jets game. I probably am going to put one of my 5 lineups as just a complete onslaught, and see what happens. But I think it's going to wrap it up. Not the most fun slate, but we got through it. Hopefully, y'all took some insight away from this one.
We will also plan since we're now a quarter into the season, a best ball bag check.
Yeah.
Check on everyone's bags, see what percentage of teams are advancing, talk about how injuries are affecting some of our biggest exposures.
Spoiler alert, I don't look terrible. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm been ravaged by injuries, man. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors, just a preview, was my highest drafted first round pick.
Yeah. Brutal.
And it, like, when you're right about that guy, like your portfolio is so much more explosive than the others. But when you lose your first round, your highest drafted first round pick, it's just so crippling.
Yeah.
So he was still an awesome pick, and it just sucks because he's one of the best young receivers in the NFL. And but Puka, who was probably my second highest drafted first round pick, is the 101.
He's going to break records this year for sure.
He's the 101.
What he's been doing is insane, and like Stafford looks like he's 5 years younger for like whatever they did with him and
the clone
in that rejuvenation trailer. They got
the clone.
Right.
And it's crazy because it's like everyone remember when Puka was falling to the second because everyone was scared of Stafford's back. It's like these narratives we like overreact to. Puka is a freaking superstar, dude.
Dude.
He's the best asset in fantasy. Like
30% Puka by fees, 33% Puka by fees.
So that's a little preview of Blake's bags for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, it'll be a fun episode to get into. We'll probably do that one early next week. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this one up. Good luck to you guys on this disgusting slate. Hopefully we see y'all at the top of the leaderboard, and see y'all next week. Hopefully we're showing off some green on our review show.
We need it, man.
Yeah, we need it for sure. It's been a little,
2 really
been a little
bad weeks.
demoralizing the last few weeks, but we're gonna keep showing up, keep putting in some reps, and we'll see y'all again on the other side. Peace.
Peace.